Hello, college football fans. As promised, this is Tim May.
With Clay Hall.
And this is the Clay May Report. We told you we were going to stick around. We'll see how far this goes. But Clay, Ohio State, coming off the 2024 National Championship. You could see the banner there over our shoulders. We started this video. That's all over. That's all said and done, man. You know, Ohio State is back at practice, preseason practice, getting ready for one of the great openers of all time in Ohio State football history, opening with Texas on August 30th. But as we stand here on July 31st, it's an interesting time, right? I mean, the curiosity about this team is probably higher than last year's.
No question. Ball is back. I always said that. Matt Finkus loved that terminology. What surprised me today from Ryan Day post-practice was the fact that he said this team wants to be the first in Buckeye history to go back-to-back national championships. He is not shying away from the ultimate goal, and yet there are a lot of questions, you know, as we've talked about. Do you want to go to the quarterbacks first?
No, let's don't get there first. I'm just, you know, the thing is, you heard me ask him this question too. You've got Ryan Day there now standing in front of that team before they broke the huddle to start the formal part of practice. And anybody can see there's a respect factor there that maybe wasn't even there a year ago for this guy and his staff. They have now won a national championship. All these curious players watching it, all the curious fans who were there watching, know that these guys put together a plan. Yeah, there were some ups and downs, some big ups and some big downs last year, but they put together a plan and won a national championship. It's just how many coaches coaching right now today have won national championships?
Not many.
Not many. Dabo Sweeney, Kirby Smart, right on down the line. But it's a handful of coaches now have won a national championship. Ryan Day is one of them. I'm talking about that's still active. So they know the brain trust, for want of another term, is there. If they do all the work that's needed, is there to maybe make another run this year.
Well, I got here a few minutes late today, and what made me feel so good, because Ryan Day is now comfortable in his own skin.
Yes.
And we're about 30 yards away from him, 35, 40, and yet there he is, thundering away. Oh, yeah. You know, what kind of, working the crowd. And you could almost, when I was in the TV biz, you could pick up that natural sound.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And a lot of times you could hear what he's saying. Sometimes you had to put a little beep in there, but you can tell he is ready to go and has their attention. And as you asked him today, I thought that was a great question, because even in his own ballpark, even in his own house, he earned respect. And now they look at him, I think, as you intimated, differently.
And as you stood before that team, before y'all went places at the beginning of practice, do you sense a sense of respect for you now that maybe wasn't even there before? Meaning, you've won a national championship. You listen to me, we can go play. You understand what I'm saying? How does that kind of change the feeling you have of doing your job?
I think that our coaching staff and myself have always had great relationships with the players. They know what goes on. I think we've always had tremendous buy-in. And a big part of that is the type of people that we bring into our program. But when you go through a season that we did, and then you see the results and the rewards come through in the back end, it just gives you a certain amount of testimony, and that matters. I think when you talk about building trust, we talk a lot of times about the character of who you are. Are you actually going to do what you say you're going to do? And in those difficult moments, like, who are you really? The second thing is your connection. Like, do you connect with people? Do you actually care about the people you're around? But the last one is competency. Like, when you stand up in front of the team and you put the plan together, whether it's an offense, defense, special team, or as the head coach, the guys in there have to trust that you know what you're talking about. So I think going through something like that just builds more and more trust. And then the last thing is you got to do it consistently over and over and over again. And so now we got to restart and do it all over again.
And as as many said after he won the national championship, when he, we're told, had police protection at his home and all that, and he went, who knows, maybe it's a wives' tale, but he went home and said, I think we're good.
Yeah.
You know, your job is done here.
Yeah.
But
just win, baby.
But to quote the great Tim May, I digress.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot to what I wanted to ask and didn't really get the opportunity is, what's the best position group on this football team? And if it's a tough decision,
Yeah.
does that mean this is one heck of a team? You know, that
Yes.
the receivers aren't that far away or not that far above the offensive line. He talked about Austin Sareveld and his abilities and what he can do at that right tackle position. I like the versatility. Jim Lachey was here today and he said the same thing. You know, this offensive line is versatile. It had to be last year in the national championship run.
Yep.
And with Tyler Bowen as the new head coach, I liked him. I watched him a lot today. Not so much the yelling, but teaching.
Yeah.
And getting everybody in the proper space.
Yeah, you meant the
And-
new head coach of the offensive line.
There you
Exactly. But no, you're right. I mean, they've got a couple other coaches working with him. That's what stands out is the depth, not just as you heard me ask Ryan about that too, not just the depth of the players, but the depth of the coaching that's going on now is obvious. And then on top of that, just I think this offensive line room has come so far in the last 4 years.
No doubt.
From just barely maybe being able to get guys on the field, a good, credible starting lineup, and maybe one backup. I mean, you can see the competition going on there. We're not going to get into like necessarily right now. We're not going to get into individual stuff, but you touched on Austin Sareveld. You know, it seemed like the real only job up for grabs going into this camp on that offensive line is starting right tackle, which is where Austin Sareveld could be the guy. And then on top of that, Ethan Onyeonwa looks like the man at left tackle.
I was just about to bring that up at 6'6", 6'7", whatever.
And then
He's
you
a
got the
beast.
starters back. They started the national championship game at guard. You know, Luke Montgomery, Tegra Shabola, and then Carson Hinsman at center. So
How about the story of Carson Hinsman in the doghouse a year and a half ago or whatever it was?
Yeah.
And now he's almost like the poster child for this offensive line, the big uglies.
But let's get to the thing everybody wants to know. What was your take? We're not going to necessarily do one of these after every practice, but
right.
But I did want to ask this because everybody wants to know. What was your take on the quarterback derby between Julian Sayin, number 10, and Lincoln Keenholz, number 3? What's just your first blush?
Right. Well, first of all, if they would bring them a little closer when they're 80 yards away and you're trying to evaluate guys going the other way on the field.
That's always been by the way, our I use the word bitch. That's always been our bitch about that.
Yeah. I think Julian Sayin will end up being the guy. I think he's first in line. I like his mobility. I thought he surprised me a couple of times on some outs to the sideline.
He can throw the ball now.
He is not tall. You know, you wish he had Lincoln Keenholz's height at 6'5", and Keenholz brings you a different variable. But
Lincoln's not 6'5". He's more like
6'3",
6'3", maybe 6'2".
Okay,
but he's big. He's bigger. He's taller.
I exaggerated.
Yeah, you were thinking of Will Howard.
But
it's hard to forget Will Howard.
It is, and so to me, Sayin's the guy until proven otherwise. But it's so early, and you keep hearing Ryan Day say it's neck and neck. Well, he's got to say it's neck and neck, so those two will perform.
Yeah,
and
of course.
And Lincoln's going to give it his best shot. So. Tavian is learning on the sideline. He did a lot of mental reps today, I noticed. When they would snap it, he would snap. He'd take the ball, go through the motions, and that's what you have to do when you're the third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about the other day about Sayin's release and the ability to get rid of it with mustard, you know?
And ketchup. Yeah, and maybe some dill pickle.
Put a little Heinz 57 on that too. That's my secret to a great burger. After
Absolutely.
I put the mayo and the mustard, the lettuce, onion, pickle, tomato, just a little dash of Heinz 57.
A little dab will do you, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. Let's just touch on real quickly. Jeremiah Smith looks the part.
Let me
But
tell you.
what stands out about that? Go ahead.
I was here in this general area. They moved inside when it started to pour like a son of a gun.
Yes.
And I don't even know who the quarterback was because I've fixed on number 4. And he ran a slant in traffic. I mean, and they weren't about to take his head off, but he makes every catch look easy, and he catches it. He slides right between the two, and he's gone.
Yeah. I think Lincoln Keynotes was the thrower on that play.
All righty.
But no, you're exactly right. I mean, he just looks bigger and stronger and faster than even last year. I'm talking about all these guys do that though because of the body by Marotti approach. And but I agree. But what stands out to me about this wide receiver room, man, it just jumps out at you today.
Did you?
I don't think they recruit anybody who's less than 6 feet tall. I mean, or
Right.
6'2", because it's stunning how tall that group is, along with being talented. You know, the peewee, as I like to say in the group, was Brandon Ennis at 6 foot.
Well, Brandon Ennis caught a ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's a new little wrinkle there. By the way, can you guys stop changing numbers? I get all caught up with you. And Brandon Ennis was 11.
Yes.
And linebacker, big guy in the middle.
Sonny Styles?
No, my goodness.
Peyton Pierce?
No.
Arvell
He used to
Reese?
start. Arvell was he 20?
Yeah, I
last
think
year?
so. Yeah.
He's 8 this year.
Yeah.
So, Buckeye fans, Buckeye Nation,
By the way,
get your program.
Arvo Reese's number might have gone down, but he did not shrink. That is for sure.
No,
Boy, does he
not
look
at
the
all.
part, you know. Hey, just kid on a couple other quick things here.
Max Clare.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead. I mean, Max Clare, the guy they got from Purdue.
Yeah, finally.
Second straight year they've gotten a linebacker in the tight end in the transfer portal who looks like a linebacker.
Yeah,
But Max Clare
yeah.
looks the part, right?
No question about it. I really zeroed on him a couple of reps just to see what he was all about. I hadn't seen that much, just some Purdue highlights.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they've got so many weapons in that room. I mean, you could be a great player and be fourth. Bennett Christian. I mean, Kazmarek. It goes on and on and on.
Who, by the way, Bennett Christian to this point is still, I think, Julian Sayan's favorite receiver because he threw that touchdown pass to him last year.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But no, you're right. You could go on and we could gush. I mean, the thing about it is it was just unfortunate to see them lose. And we'll see how long he's out. Edric Houston, near the end of practice.
You were right there. Tell me what
Well, he just got
happened.
caught up in as I call it, a bingo, you know, like
Yeah.
4 guys trying to be in one spot at the same time. It was a light contact practice, obviously. They don't have full pads on. And all of a sudden, the worst thing that can happen is you look out there and see a guy still down.
Well, especially a D tackle.
Yeah, a D tackle, the most fragile in terms of depth group on this team. And right off the bat, you know, the challenge has been laid down to
Right.
like a Will Smith Jr.,
Right.
Tywan
Right.
Malone.
Yeah.
Time to step up.
Well, it was interesting that somebody asked about leadership. His first response was about the defensive tackle position, and he said, "We've got depth now,"
Right.
which is huge if true, and I take him at his word. And then he said later.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said later that Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson Jr., and
Bo Atkinson.
And I saw Bo, like what I saw out of him, and Mr. Hicks, who's going to,
CJ
come off the
Yeah.
the edge.
But see, that's the thing about it, though. When you talk about defensive line, there's a big difference between the tackles and the ends, you know, and the ends
doubt.
are where the tackles are where the depth situation is. Yet Matt Patricia, as we've talked about before, I've talked about many times on the radio, Matt Patricia can mix and match. I mean, he can create something of the defensive line, maybe taking one of those defensive ends and running him down inside, all kinds of little things to make up maybe for a situation from a depth standpoint at defensive tackle. So, but right off the bat, you stub your big toe or you go in with a swollen big toe and then you stub it right off the bat. that's kind of what this has done roster-wise for this football team. And like I said, the hope is that Edric Houston is just gone for a little while.
Right.
But he had to be helped off the field, which was not a good sign.
Well, you mentioned people thought Jim Knowles was the mad scientist. Matt Patricia can do the same thing, and I think a little more, and I think he may have to.
Yeah.
If his numbers are down in that defensive ditch.
I think Matt Patricia might become the mad astrophysicist. That's what I'm thinking, because this guy thinks different than most people.
Well, you're well beyond algebra now.
Yeah, exactly.
You've elevated this discussion.
I'm into calculus, baby.
Okay.
But
well,
anyway.
Put a wrap on it, brother.
Yeah. Bottom line is we enjoyed watching the first day of practice. I've always enjoyed watching football practice because that's when you see guys emerge. You see a team deal with, like we saw there, with some adversity right off the bat. How do the coaches, how do they roll with the punches, things like that. And, we're only going to get to watch 3 practices, and then probably the next time we get to see this team, media-wise, is going to be when they play Texas.
Yeah,
so there's going to be 22 practices that we really
won't be privy to
except by word of mouth.
Right.
But this is Tim May along with Clay Hall, the Clay May report. I've already enjoyed it, and we've only done 2. How about you, Clay?
That's right. We're just getting started, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Love you.
I'm Tim May. He's Clay Hall. We'll see you next time.